Choosing a rod, it can be an overwhelming, daunting task on what rod to use for what technique. You know, everybody has something they're a little bit better at, something they specialize in. There's so many different options on the market for rods, but what Lew's did was they took their pro staff, they took what the guys were best at, and they gave us full run to design a rod specifically designed for what we're best at. Me personally, I'm known for skipping. It's what I do best. It's my specialty. Number one, I designed a skipping rod, and we're gonna go through the two rods that I designed, but let's start with the skipping rod. What makes a good skipping rod? Well, for me is you gotta have the backbone to get the fish out, but you also gotta have the tip to get the bait in. So you gotta get the bait in and you gotta get the fish out. And that's what I did with what I call an 80-20 rod. It's where most of your tip is in the last 20% of the rod. What that's gonna allow me to do is shoot that bait wherever I need to shoot it. But I have 80% that's all backbone that's gonna allow me to get the fish out once he gets on. You know, when you're skipping baits, you're skipping them out of sight. You're skipping them into some nasty stuff. So you gotta have that backbone to get that fish out. Now, another very, very important deal is to match the length of the rod to how tall you are. And that's the reason we got two models in the skipping series, a 6'9" and a 7'1". I'm a taller guy, so I use a 7'1". Shorter people or more vertically challenged people need to use a 6'9". Look, I can skip any length rod. You can skip any length rod. But to be deadly accurate, which is very, very key, you need to match the length rod to how tall you are. Because a longer rod is gonna force you to do more sidearm. You can skip, but you can't be deadly accurate. You want that shorter rod so it can be more of an underhanded cast, and that way you can be deadly accurate. Put that bait where it needs to be. You got the backbone. Don't worry about the shorter rods. Some of the best in the world use shorter rods to get the fish out. You do not have to have the leverage like we're most commonly programmed to believe. So match the length of the rod, get you a Lew's skipping rod, whichever length you need, 6'9", 7'1", and go catching some big bass. Number two, the second rod I designed. Another thing I'm known for is bladed jigs. Been with them since they started. And we came out with the Thunder Cricket. And the Thunder Cricket kind of took the market by storm when I caught the 9-pounder. So there's a lot of different scenarios or a lot of different rods that people like on a bladed jig. Me personally, I use a little bit stiffer one than a lot of guys. So this is gonna be more of a 70-30 rod. So I got 30% is tip. So it's a little more parabolic, but I still got the backbone. 70% of my rod is a lot of backbone, because a Thunder Cricket hook is basically a jig hook. That's what it is. It's an owner jungle hook. So, you know, these softer rods on long casts, getting that jig hook through there can be challenging. I hear these stories about it allows the fish to eat the bait a little more before you hook them. You know, personally, I don't buy into that. I got a big hook. When he bites me at the end of a long cast, I want the backbone to be able to get that hook, that jig hook basically, through that fish and be able to get him in. So that's the reason I go a little more stiffer rod. I got a 7'3". You can get up around the bank and fish, or you can fish offshore. It's the best of both worlds. It's got the backbone to make anything you need work. So that's my 6 series rods, the skipping rod, 6'9", 7'1", and the Thunder Cricket bladed jig rod in a 7'3" model. They both have the tip you need and the backbone you need to make the right cast and catch more fish.